Let's take a look at these drawings that we'll be using to understand even further these drawing sheets. So I've got several listed. These are the ones that are for Chapter 8. So it's file drawing A 2.5. I named it A 2-5. One of the first things you want to notice is that north is to the left, meaning that south is to the right, east is up, and west is down. So this left side would be the north side, and this bottom side here would be the west side. The side on the right-hand side is going to be south, and the one at the top is the east side or the east elevation as you're looking at it. But if you look at it, we have column bubbles. So we have numbers along the top, which is typical, letters along the side. I personally don't like to have the bubbles on both sides, but in this case, it'd be easy to find a column like G7. So here's G, you follow it around over here to 7, or any one of these, and you see that there's a detail. Well, this enlarged detail doesn't have a sheet number, it just has a dash through it, which means it's on this sheet. So you can see that there are several enlarged details on this sheet. So you come back up here and you see that, okay, there are numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the exact detail right here at that corner because it's number 4. Also, we have sections. So when you think about building sections like this sheet, A 5.1, where the file's called A5-1, you'll see that there are 2 complete building sections. Sometimes they're called cross sections instead of wall sections, which would just be through the wall, right? You have AA and BB. This is kind of like a cut through the building. And so if I go back to the plans and you get close enough, you'll see that, well, here it is right here. This section is BB. And if you go all the way across the other side, there's BB. And it tells you it's on A 5.1, which is the sheet that we were just on. The arrow shows you which way it's facing. So in this case, it's facing towards this west wall in this section so that you can go back to the building section and see that it's facing this way with the column bubble 8 then on the left side. And then we also have the section AA, which is right here, coming down across like this and looking to the left. And that's also on this A 5.1, and there they are. So you can take a look at these. Just wanted to point out to you where you're going to be finding some of these answers to the questions for the next section. So since we're talking about building sections, that would be the ones that go all the way across from one side to another, and we've got 2 of them. We do have wall sections, and we have 4 of them at least. And so you'll see that a wall section stops short of just across the wall, but it's facing in the direction of the arrow. And these wall sections have A letters, A, B, C, and D, and the sheet that it's on is either A6.1 or A6.2. Well, the sheet is actually 6.1. It has all 4 of them on there. So taking a look, I'll go up a little bit more. You have A here looking that way, B at the bottom here along this wall, and then C comes in because this piece is higher. There's a piece in the center that's higher, and you can see that on the elevations as you kind of study this building. There's C and then D over here. So if we go over to that file called A6.1 wall section, and I rotated it, I right-clicked and picked rotate clockwise, you'll see that there's A, B, C, and D. And I like the way that they have this laid out, although I wouldn't normally turn the page, but they decided to use this larger scale to show all of the detail of each the wall itself. So it's a wall section showing uh, enlarged details of that building section, the whole building. So the cool thing about reading drawings is that you go from a floor plan to building sections and wall sections, and then inside the wall sections are all of these smaller details. So if you look over here, each one of these has kind of um, a blow up of what's going on at that corner of of that wall section. So going back to the floor plan, let's take a look at a few more symbols. We have inside some of these rooms, and I know we've talked about this before, but it's good to review, and I'm going to take it even further. We have these elevation markers. So it's not an exterior elevation, it's an interior elevation view. And you can see that all of these are going to be on this A10.5 or A10.10-5 file. And the numbers represent the different views. So in this project lab room, we only are showing the elevations for uh, here number 17 and number 19. And so when we go over to that interior elevation sheet A10.5, which it usually says right in the middle there, interior elevation, the room name right here, and it also has a number. Kind of hard to see the number, but they have the number at the bottom here, the bottom left corner of the elevation. It's usually in the title, but there's 17 right there. So this is that laboratory wall panels, and then 19 is over here. And it did show that there was this marker board over in the plan. And if we go back, if we look at this interior elevation, you can see that interior elevations are really, they stop right where the wall starts and where the floor and the ceiling. So you're just showing the flat projection of that wall. So going back to the plan, looking at 19 here, you can see there's the door and there's that marker board. And then let's see, what's this other thing? Yeah, this wardrobe unit that is also in the plan. So this is how we kind of coordinate to look at the drawings. I didn't see a door schedule or a window schedule, but that's what these circles would be. The circles would be a number that goes back to a schedule that tells you exactly what type of door that is. But you can see that just by looking at it visually, you can see that most of these are swing doors, but we do have a couple of double doors and other types of doors that are in this drawing. We also have to watch for that abbreviation. There is usually a sheet of abbreviations. This abbreviation list is just one typical one, but it's not with this drawing set. Usually it's on the first page. And so when you're looking for abbreviations, you can take a look at usually the first page of the set. Um, this is a reference that's in our book, and I included it so that you could see that there are several abbreviations for different things. In fact, one of the walls has this tackable wall cover. It's TWC that's on top of the gypsum wallboard, which is GWB. So just wanted to point that out to you in that detail. And so when you see something like DF in this hallway there next to the elevator, you can kind of see that there's a box there. It kind of looks like a drinking fountain. most of the time you can make that out and to see that it is, it is um, somewhat simple to figure out. But like over here in detail 2 on this plan sheet, there's the TWC over the GWB. And even this one, CMT, which is ceramic mosaic tile, I'm not sure if it's in this one. There it is. Yep. Ceramic mosaic tile, sometimes in these typical abbreviation lists. So going back to the floor plan, we have these interior elevations that will have a lot of abbreviations also. On the floor plan, you can't see it as well as on the interior elevation. So if you're wondering, for example, what PS stands for here, you can look at it in the interior elevation. But before we do that, take a look at these two walls. There's one right here in this classroom 319, and it's elevation 9. It says opposite hand. You can see that this one is very similar to this one down here, which is also 9. So on this one, you'll see that the items are moved around, so it's kind of like flipped, and that's what this opposite hand would signify, that it's similar, but use the plan for reference of where things are. So let's go over to that sheet there and take a look at this interior elevation that's number 9. You can see that the PS is for the projection screen here, and then we have chalkboard. This is the chalkboard here. And then if you look at the abbreviation sheet for TB, it's tech board. So in the abbreviations list, you would then have to go back if you weren't familiar with that and see that TB was for this tech board. And it shows you here that in those rooms, it's the opposite hand. So kind of things are moved around in this elevation, so you use the plan for the location. Okay, so looking at this drawing, and I'm referencing some of the questions that are in the chapter and kind of at the same time showing you this drawing. The one or two couple things that we didn't talk about would be the windows. There would typically be a window schedule, and that's what these hexagons are here. The number that's inside the window right here next to the window shows you what would go back to a schedule and show you what type. So you can kind of see that there are a lot of 1s and 2s, right? So whatever type 2 is, they're all along here, or a couple of 1s here and there. And so when you look at the schedule, you would see that size. The dashed line that comes around the middle here, that's in this hallway, and specifically in this corridor on the east side right there, in corridor 314, this one that comes all the way around, you can see the note. The note is referencing these enlarged plans. So you would then be able to take a look at a bigger version of this with more detail, just so you know. We also want to take a look at some of the notes. Usually notes are underneath the title, but on this sheet, I don't see any notes underneath the title, which leads me to look around on the drawing, see what kind of notes are on here. There's a note here about the windows, and just a couple of other notes that are talking about the operable wall being an alternate, and this, look for those notes that are nested within the drawing itself. Like I said, there's usually a stack of notes underneath it. So that's actually the plan. If you have any questions about anything on the plan, just let me know, and I'll help you out with that. When we have a lot of different walls and wall systems, and especially unique tile or carpet designs, we have a second plan, and that plan is going to show the wall type. There's a whole list of the different wall types here. I believe we used this drawing before, so you might be a little familiar with this, where if you see here number 1, this little line with that goes along the wall there, you know that this is the type of wall it is. So looking at the plan, you have a lot of these kind of circles with a line through it. That indicates, like number 4, you go over here and take a look and see that's the kind of wall that it is. A lot of times the walls are created, they go all the way up to the deck above, so that you can protect your privacy or the noise level or security. There are a lot of different reasons why you would bring the drywall all the way up to the deck above, or stop it short before the ceiling tiles. And then there's also sometimes there are enlarged plans like this one of the carpet or the tile pattern that is being used. So that's what this sheet is about. Okay, so 4-2 has these 2 elevations that are similar to the building sections. As you're looking at it, you can use the bubbles to reference, you can use the direction to reference. There are a couple of details here. Okay, and then I'm looking at here what the next sheet would be, 5.1. The building sections. Let's see, we already looked at the plans. We have the floor plan, and then we have this sheet of details. Now, keep in mind that when you have a sheet of details like this, the detail itself might not be rotated in the direction that it should be on the plan. And sometimes, like with this drawing, it shows the column bubbles that will give you that reference. But there are times when maybe this wall panel is going here in this direction, but this whole thing would need to be rotated in the plan. So take a look at the plan, look for number 12, and you'll be able to find that detail. You can see that they're numbered. On this sheet, and this is kind of different, there are 2 different sheets here. They divided it up so that you can kind of reference both of those on the same sheet. So this left side is A11.1 and this one's A11.2. So when you're in the plan and you're looking at where these would be, there's 11.1, 11.2. They're all on the same. They're all on the same sheet. And I guess I could show you that right here. If you look at number 3, it's turned on its side to kind of follow these other details in similarity, although this one has an operable wall panel and this one has the wall system itself. But if you look at number 3 here, you need to rotate it, right? So that you can have G here along going north-south, and then number 5 here going east-west. Awesome. Okay, so I think that gives you an idea of what these sheets are doing. We have the main floor plan. We have a floor plan with all the wall types in the tile and carpet. We have, I'll just start here, the elevations with a couple of details, the building sections with a couple of details, and a whole sheet of details, wall sections, and interior elevations. It's important to really dive into these drawings. This is a small set, and kind of understand how we have this cross-referencing between these sheets and how to look that up.